Daniel Long is my son. He was 15 when he passed away.
This is the story of Emma, a mum who lost her son too soon.
It became a bit intense for Daniel. He did a lot of revising. He always thought that he wouldn't be able to remember everything, and the volume of revision he worried about as well. So he spent hours and hours and hours at the kitchen table revising. He didn't really go out with his friends as much. He became a bit of a loner actually, and the stress and the pressures got to him where up until a week before he started doing a couple of his mocks. He hadn't sat all of them, but he took his own life because of his GCSEs. Since Daniel's passed away, I really do have my dark days, as well as my daughter. Sometimes, I just literally get out of bed and I just do not want to do anything at all. And it is really hard. Luckily, I've got friends to support me and I've got family that support me, but sometimes you can't always, or I feel I can't always talk to them because I don't want to put them in a position where they're upset.
I'd say me and my mum are close, but I think she keeps her feelings away from me. So my mum rather cope by herself, so she doesn't really show her emotions in front of me. And again, that's changed her as a person because before, we would talk about anything, but I think my mum wants to keep her feelings aside so she doesn't hurt me as well.
Losing a child can be one of the worst losses one can ever face, especially for Emma, whose world revolved around Daniel. I spoke to counselling psychotherapist Mary Smith about what life can be like for parents like Emma.
They're often very either angry or guilty about what's happened, even if it isn't really necessarily any of their responsibility. I mean, obviously, if a child dies, they're the parents, but it may not be anything that they could have avoided happening, but they still feel guilt, they still feel anger. I think they feel a sense of absolute hopelessness. Question, why did the child die? Was it not them? It feels that a child's death is out of time, it's out of sequence. We expect the older people to die first before the younger people. Stuff perhaps that seemed very important before the child died becomes much less important. I think the fact that the realisation of the real fragility of life, the fact that it can stop very quickly, I think it makes people think. I think they actually often make very big changes.
According to Child Bereavement UK, 869 school children aged between 5 to 16 years old died in 2017 alone, the same year Daniel passed away. Sadly, psychological damage by a child's death does not heal over time. A 2008 study found even 18 years after the death of a child, bereaved parents show more depressive symptoms and poorer well-being. A 2016 YouGov survey stated that 22% of British adults who have been bereaved of a close family member said that they felt lonely. Carrying on, harboring such an inconceivable grief might seem next to impossible for most people, but Emma was choosing to channel her grief to address a bigger cause.
Out of a tragic situation, we've set up Team Daniel, which we're hoping to be a fully fledged charity in the next year or so. So we raise now awareness of mental health in young people, which includes suicide, anxiety, depression, and it's come on leaps and bounds. I shared Daniel's story across social media and the newspapers and magazines, and it was quite apparent that actually across the UK there were loads of people that felt like Daniel, and there's just not enough help out there for children at all. So we set up the group, we fundraise. In less than 2 years we've raised over £25,000. This year we're raising money for children to get counselling themselves, for people that have been on long waiting lists, and by doing that that helps me because it keeps me busy. So, you know, of a night time, rather than me sitting here with my own dark thoughts, I'll be sitting and thinking about how we can fundraise more. We also set up a campaign, a problem shared is a problem halved. So that is to get more counsellors in schools. I believe every school should have a counsellor, at least 2. And the response on that has been amazing. I think at the moment we've got over 40,000 signatures at present, which means we can go to Parliament and it can get talked about. But obviously we'd like to get more signatures so that Parliament will do something about it. From the back of the campaign, I've done talks with Joe McCorbin. If you was to tackle the root cause of why children have got mental health issues, you wouldn't have to spend so much money in the NHS on mental health when they're older. And, you know, people wanting to work with Team Daniel, like the NSPCC, Papyrus, another charity, they prevent suicide in young people. So I do know that, you know, what we're doing is reaching a lot of people.
Emma has also been vocal about how easily guidelines to commit suicide are available on the internet and has been on the news many times to demand stricter regulations.
Well, it shouldn't be on the internet. There's no reason for that to be on the internet, is there? It's like, you know, why would you have that on there? There's just no need for it to be on a social media site.
I got a chance to attend the first Team Daniel event of 2019, a karate-thon. Emma and many significant members of Team Daniel were doing a bake sale and various game stalls. They were also going to try karate for the first time. Here, I also got a chance to meet Emma's friends and supporters who told me more about her journey.
She always used to be a very fun-loving person. I think a lot of that has probably gone to the bottom of the pile in her priorities. She is much more focused now in caring on about other people and actually making sure that, or trying to ensure, I should say, that this doesn't happen to any more children. She's developed her social skills so much more. She has got an awareness of how to approach groups, who to speak with, and how to go through political channels, which is probably something that most people never encounter. So it's a very big learning curve for somebody from a normal life to suddenly have to challenge systems.
By speaking to and reassuring young people, Emma has helped many students like Millie.
How I got to know Emma is at this beer festival and the queue was massive, so I said, do you want any help? And she said, yes please. So I was doing the tattoo and then I've helped ever since. And she's helped me with, because I was stressed over my stats, so she said you don't need to be stressed, just keep on trying. And so yeah, I felt happy when I spoke to her because she made me happy about my stats, and she said you don't need to stress over them, they're not that bad.
Hearing people's stories is sometimes an inspiration. What happened to Daniel was a tragedy, it was awful. But Emma is such an inspirational person. She goes out of her way and she will help anybody, and she will sit down one-to-one with people and talk to them.
An inspiration to many, Emma is truly an example of a phoenix rising from the ashes.
I don't know how she's done it personally. I don't think I wouldn't have been able to do it from the start, but it's helped us out a lot for like his family and friends to keep us close, and doing stuff for other people has helped us. It's helped us as a family, it's helped us all as friends, and helping other people makes us feel like we've achieved something, like we've lost Daniel, but we're also saving other people from going through what he did. So from a bad thing, we've actually done really good things.